Lincoln. Particularly known for its cathedral, the city also has a variety of pubs and restaurants to offer, including some hidden gems that people may not have heard of. As a building dating back as early as the 18th century, Ye Olde Crowne proudly positions itself in the heart of Lincoln's thriving city centre. But it isn't just the pub that needs to have character. Mark Ward, a 29-year-old from Lincoln himself,
Don't take heart.
chose to return back to his hometown after a few years away to see if he can step up to the mark of owning the pub.
Before I started the pub club, nightclub sort of scene, I was 16 and a half, joined the army, did 9.5 years, did very well within the forces, went from private up to staff sergeant, did various tours of Afghanistan, Iraq, Northern Ireland, Belize and Kenya, and then obviously came back home after a successful career within the army to establish myself on Civvy Street and get back into what I did prior to joining the army actually, which was the pub trade.
Surprisingly though, the place has not always been a pub.
Yeah, basically the pub's history dates back to 1747 where it was a butcher's originally. The whole area was basically a slaughterhouse and butcher sort of depot back then, hence the street name Butchery Court. And then after that, in 1773, it went from a butcher's into a slaughterhouse. And then from a slaughterhouse in 1802, it was brought off a gentleman who actually had the building, didn't do much with it. It ended up getting knocked down. And then in 1910, it got rebuilt and the land itself was sold for £3,000. And they rebuilt it from the original blueprints, so it was a mock Tudor building, and that's when it opened up as a public house, and it's been a public house ever since.
What many people may not know is that Ye Olde Crowne featured in the 1962 film The Wild and the Willing, starring a few familiar faces, including Coronation Street star Johnny Briggs, Ian McShane, and transatlantic talent John Hurt.
No, they don't do any harm. Bit quieter, you lads.
Hold it down.
All right, sir? Yeah, all right. How about onward Christian soldiers?
Yeah.
Nigel and Tina's are regulars at the pub. After living in Lincoln their entire lives, they've watched the pub transform over the years to what it has become now.
We're irresponsible. Having childish fun while the rockets stand ready on the launching pad.
Nigel plays guitar in the local band Kathmandu, who regularly perform around the country. But what is it that keeps bringing them back to Ye Olde Crowne?
We got married at, I think it was just before 11, once it was 11 o'clock, yeah. And then we'd arranged to come here for about 1ish after the photography. But the day didn't go as planned and it started raining. So we all walked down from the registry office down to here, and we caught Paul unawares, which was quite funny. He was decorating the place, and he went, oh, and we was like an hour early. And no worries, we just sat round and sort of just made ourselves sort of inconspicuous. And it was no sweat, we got there, The head table there, and all our guests sat down there. There was 28 of us having a 3-course dinner, which Paul sorted, and it was gorgeous.
Prior to Mark owning the pub, previous landlords, Paul and Michelle, were respected by many locals during their time here.
Cracking landlord and landlady. Everyone speaks very highly of them, always have done, but unfortunately, you know, they come to a bit of a tragic end within the pub.
Paul always had time for you. He was a lovely, lovely man, yeah. And his wife as well, yeah. Oh yeah, they were very much in love.
Unfortunately, Michelle was diagnosed with spinal cancer shortly before her death.
She went to be sort of walking about in a wheelchair in a matter of 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
After Michelle got ill, we see Paul going downhill. Because basically, she was here for a while, but then she had to be transferred to a home. So Paul was here on his own, and he wasn't the man he used to be. But then he said to me, oh, good news, Nige, Michelle's been allowed out, so I'm here for the weekend in a wheelchair, and I think that's when it happened, I think.
And he had a fatal accident up on the hotel stairs, which unfortunately, obviously, he had a heart attack, fell down the stairs, broke his neck, and obviously he died.
For me, even sat here now, Paul and Michelle are still here.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
They are.
Yeah.
It's such, you got that atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they had a massive role within this pub for many, many years and gave the pub a lot of heart and a good reputation. So I believe they're still about, but you know, nice spirits if anything. You know, never had a bad feeling at all.
Throughout the years, many people have reason to believe that the place is haunted, so we thought we'd ask Mark if anything has happened to him.
There's been a lot of, when we first arrived here, we had a lot of stories of haunts and ghosts that could have still been on the premises, or spirits, should I say, that were still on the premises. And I was a bit sceptical, you know, as you are anyway, because I've had venues in the past that have had strange going-ons. But since I've been here, just in a short period of time, we have had things like noises, bangs, which you get with any old building, granted, but silhouettes of people, and no one was there. Doors rapidly banging and noises throughout, lights blowing, bulbs going at random times, glasses flying off the table. That's happened once. I put it down to a wet table, but the table wasn't wet, so I was a bit like, ah! But the truth in the pudding is, you know, just spend the night here and see it for yourself, really.
The crew decided to take Mark's offer and spend a night in the cellar.
No, yeah, I wouldn't. I just wonder if you wanted the front doors open.
No. Well, unless we ourselves, we have to run out. But,
Oh God, I don't fall.
who's getting short straw and being left on their own?
In fact, I do think someone should go in that room by himself. I wouldn't go in that room by myself.
You wouldn't?
No. No. No, I wouldn't. No. What are we doing? Spinning the chairs around or what?
I think we should do it. I'll swap. Yeah, things just follow.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That thing doesn't even. That light's on there because it doesn't even work, mate. It's all disconnected, all that.
The perception of pubs nowadays is considered a struggling business. Therefore, we thought we'd ask Mark what he personally thinks.
Well, it's like any business you go into. You've always got to look at the reputation of the business prior and look at what didn't work and where they may have gone wrong and look what you can do to improve on that.
The present landlords have definitely got it right. They've got that chemistry back again.
You've got to be on the same level as people.
You have, yeah.
If you're
definitely.
not,
You've got to be
it's not
welcoming.
going to work.
It's like I've said before, it's not the premises, it's not the building, it's the people who are in it and the people who make it what it is.
It is the best pub in Lincoln, as far as I'm concerned.
What makes it the best one?
No trouble.
It's just how you imagine a good pub to be.
Still got a long way to go, still got a lot of things to build on, but it's definitely getting there, without a doubt.
You want the best.